When I think of the Johnson Center, the word determined pops into my head. By determined, I mean the idea of all different types of people, all at the gym for among the same reasons. Whether that's just going to be healthy, improve your body shape, relieve stress, or time in your busy lifestyle to see some of your friends you can't squeeze into the rest of your day. All of these individuals come together as a whole at the JC and make up one big culture of determined people. As you enter the front doors, you hear the screeches from the basketball court, the clinking of weights, and the continuous running of the machines from upstairs. The tone and attitude is serious, as people are just simply working out to better themselves. I feel it is in a way a safe and judgment-free environment because the students there all have things they need to work on, or else they wouldn't be there in the first place. Each part of the Johnson Center has its own unique little spots and cultures within themselves. The rock wall is where you'll find the outdoorsy people, the weights represent hardcore and tough, and the track is where you can find most of the athletes. Let's take a listen and see what some of the students here at UK have to say about their own experiences and the cultures they endure while at the JC. One of my good friends here, Mackenzie Clody, often goes to the Johnson Center to work out. She's a freshman here at the University of Kentucky, and I have known her for over 3 years. I asked 2 questions, and this is what I got. What's the first word that comes to your head when you think of the word Johnson Center?
I think of the word sweat because people are really dedicated and determined inside the Johnson Center, and their focus is to work out and fix their body however they want to.
Keep in mind, whether you believe me or not, Mackenzie had no prior knowledge of what my thesis was before this interview. She still managed to touch on some of the same ideas that I had initially stated earlier in this podcast, which goes to show that the word determined can arguably be a solid term to explain the culture inside the Johnson Center. Not only because she used it in explaining her thoughts, but also because she said they are focused on fixing their bodies, and that is just one of the general ways that one can be determined at the JC. The follow-up question for Mackenzie was, do you think there's any certain type of atmosphere or culture inside the Johnson Center?
I think the atmosphere inside the Johnson Center is very serious. There's not much conversation going on. Most people are just in their head and focusing on what they need to do and how to do it. It's also very important to get after it and stay in your zone and stay focused.
What I took from this interview was how serious and hardworking the people are inside the JC. She touched on how people are just there to get after it, and that is one aspect of the whole bigger picture of being determined. She mentioned that people are just there in their zones and staying focused. I think that really does change the whole environment. My next set of interviews comes from another good friend of mine, who happens to also be from my hometown. She's a junior here at the University of Kentucky, and luckily for me, she works at the Johnson Center. Her responses were a little bit longer due to her experience and connections to the gym, so bear with me here. The first question I asked was, what are some of your experiences or observations while working here at the Johnson Center?
One of the observations that I've experienced being at the Johnson Center for the past year and a half is seeing people grow. Specifically, one guy, he started a year and a half ago, at least that's when I noticed, and he was really, really scrawny. And then over the past year and a half, I've seen his muscles and himself really grow, and I feel like he's become really motivated enough to be continuously coming to the gym, and that's one observation I've really noticed. And another observation that I've noticed is a lot of people build relationships through the gym, and they have friendships, and then they get on the same workout schedule, and a lot of times they're all here at the same time, and I think that's really cool.
Here, Katie brings out a very good point that I too want to touch on. The JC is a place for growth. Whether we're talking about physical or mental growth, the gym provides a space for that to happen. Also, she brought up how there are similar groups or communities within the JC. I think that it's really important that there is an environment here that allows all students to come together and accomplish their goals. The next question I asked was, what types of interactions do you see with the students inside the Johnson Center?
Within the Johnson Center, there's some people that just come in and out, and they come work out, and then they don't really do much else. They don't have really any interactions. But then there's also this I would say workout group within the gym, and there's certain groups of them, and they all work out together and interact, and they either work out together or they just meet up and talk for a little bit. And I think that's really cool because I've seen those friendships build from them just throughout the past year.
I found it very interesting that she touched on how there are different types of people that come to the JC. There are the individuals who come solely to focus on themselves, get their work done, and don't spend much time interacting with other people. Then there are people who come in groups or pairs and use the gym as a time to catch up and build their friendships, all while working out, killing two birds with one stone. Either way you look at it, these are prime examples of how there are not just one group of determined people, but you can be determined in more ways than one also. And I think what Katie said really enlightened that. Finally, the third question I asked Katie was, do you feel there's any certain type of culture here at the Johnson Center?
I do think that there is some sort of culture, whether it be like a motivation culture or something along those lines. We do a lot of things within the Johnson Center to motivate people, like a t-shirt thing at the end of the semester. You mark off your name each time you come to the gym. And I think that kind of connects us as a culture here at the gym. But I also think within the gym, people build their own cultures, and it's almost like a workout, workout culture. And they all are really close and work out together and communicate, and they all even hang out outside of the Johnson Center. And so I do think that there's some sort of culture.
Obviously, you can hear from this that the JC promotes a very motivational culture. While she doesn't come right out and say the word determined, to me it still falls within the same category. There are still all types of UK students coming together, forming friendships, and pushing each other to do better. All in all, while the Johnson Center may offer different things to different people, it still provides some sort of culture. The students there, whether they notice it or not, all have one thing in common, and that's being determined. Some are determined in the fact that they go to only focus on themselves. Others go to the JC to grow as a person and get healthier and stronger. People also go just for the motivating atmosphere and be with the people who can help them achieve their goals. The fact that the students keep coming back is what makes them determined, and the attitude radiates throughout the whole gym.